Hi, I'm Kimmy Snyder, and I play Mary Jo Kincaid in the play A Piece of My Heart, and we are here in our little rehearsal space at the mall.
And tell me about your character.
My character is a country singer who goes overseas to entertain the troops in Vietnam. And she is 17 years old in 1967 and really has no idea what she's getting into. She just thinks she's going to go over there, have a fun time. She's kind of boy crazy and excited about having all these guys see her up there on stage and just to make some music, and kind of gets in over her head.
Your character kind of lays it out. It's kind of emotional, kind of have some difficult circumstances happen to you, some rip up kind of things.
All the characters have emotional difficulty and things that rip them up. My character specifically, she and her band are all raped by soldiers. And it is very emotional, the part where that comes out, and she talks about it in detail for the first time. Just how horrifying an experience it is for her and the rest of her band as well. But
There was a movie, I can't remember the name of it, but it showed the absurdity of having a war and having these entertainers come in right in the middle of the bombing and everything.
Is it Apocalypse Now?
Apocalypse Now,
yeah,
yes.
I just watched that a few weeks ago. I had watched Apocalypse Now probably just a month after getting the script, maybe even sooner after that. And seeing the part in that, I believe I watched the director's cut where they show some sort of sex being forced on one of the entertainers, and that it is absurd that they are there in a war zone when there's bombs going on around them and they kind of fly them in by helicopter. My character talks about going to places by helicopter, that she's on the road and running around, and I think that part of it is some of the guys there may have seen them as these women are the sex objects over there, that this is what we get to lust after, and there may have been some force used. It was hard for me to watch that movie, to see that scene in it. It is difficult. Sorry, I'm not answering this question.
No, that's okay. I'm trying to think of you wouldn't think that an entertainer would have a hard time going to any, to entertain the troops, and yet it seems that portrays a real difficult emotional experience for those people too. You're kind of partners with the nurses and all the other people.
In my head, Mary Jo looks at these soldiers that she's singing for, and she knows that she's going to sing for them, and then tomorrow they're going to go out in the field. They might get shot, they might get blown up, that terrible things are going to happen to them. And to her, she says, I'll be lifting the worries of war off their shoulders with my love for them. That she sees herself as someone who is called to bring this love and sort of a happiness and a break from the misery to them. And I think to some extent ends up taking it on herself. The sadness and the horror of it.
Tell me how you deal with the emotions of this. It's a very emotional show. How do you deal with that?
It's grown me as a person, honestly, that the rape happens to her partway through her tour there, and then she just kind of has to continue and carry on. One of the themes of the show is, no matter what's going on, you have a job to do, you just get in there and you say can do. That's an attitude that I've kind of absorbed into my own life at this point. I have my own issues, I've had struggles over this summer. It's been a very crazy summer to be working on this show. But in the midst of all the emotional minefield of doing it and all the crazy stuff happening, can do. You get in there, you get the job done. Get on stage, sing the songs, do the lines. And it's emotional, but it has been a growth experience. It's been very good.
Is there another theme that people could learn something from in this play?
Another theme that people could learn something from with this play is the trauma that people are going through. Not just the trauma of the nurses talk about seeing the rivers of blood, and they talk about seeing people with their limbs blown off, and they They talk about all these horrible experiences that they go through that are war specific. Whereas my character, her trauma is something that happens to women every single day in our country. She says this is stuff that never would have happened at home, and that is kind of a naive comment on her part. But even in our society, even in everyday life, there are people walking around with the sort of trauma that brings on these flashbacks and these memories and just horrible emotional depths that are very hard to deal with. And I think one of the themes that has come through most strongly for me is that this is way more common than people think, is people walking around with terrible emotional scars on their lives and that nobody knows how to treat them, that they could be walking through and anything could trigger them into feeling that way.
You know, it just strikes me that some people say, I don't want to know about this. But I think watching and listening to this builds a certain kind of empathy that these people have suffered, that we who haven't suffered these can.
The attitude that I haven't suffered this and therefore I would like to close my eyes and not know about it is, I believe, the reason that so many rapes go unreported and so many horrible things happen to people that they end up never talking about. And one thing that is not really shown in the show except for where they go to their support group is the importance of talking about trauma and issues and the emotional scars. That perhaps if these women had people in their lives who were willing to listen to them and hear them out and really, you know, not put up the wall and block it all out, that it's too hard for me to hear this horrible stuff, maybe they would have been more capable to deal with it.
So tell me why your friends should come see this play.
My friends should come see this play because watching it is a life-changing experience. Being a part of it has been a life-changing experience, but I see people walking out of the show and I see the looks on their faces and I know they're going to go home and they're going to think about it, that it sticks, that the level of talent in this show is unlike anything that I've ever seen around here, the level of intensity and focus and just how much everybody cares about the message in this show, about the characters. The reason to come see this show is it is a brilliant work by everybody who's been a part of it, but also because it will stick with you and it will affect you and it will teach you and it will hurt.
But maybe in a good way.
It is a very joyful experience to process it all.
Yeah,
it's
good.
healing.
Good, thank you.